What is the minimum age for a soldier? 10, 12, or 16? But today, you will see someone who showed his bravery on the battlefield at the tender age of 6. Surprised? Yes, you heard it right. You will be truly astonished to learn how this 6-year-old child continued the fight alongside adults in World War II. Today, I am here to share the extension of an extraordinary movie called Soldier Boy. So let's not waste any more time and begin today's movie extension. The movie begins with us seeing a Russian boy named Seryozha. Seryozha lives in a remote village in Russia with his mother and brother Petya. In the first scene of the movie, we see his mother and Petya fishing, and Seryozha is sitting on a tree near the lake. He repeatedly calls out to his mother from the tree. His mother asks him to be quiet because his shouting was making it difficult to catch fish. Suddenly, Seryozha sees a German plane flying over his head, as this was the time of World War II when the Germans were attacking Russia. A German plane circled above their heads. Seryozha's mother quickly hides with his brother Petya and tells Seryozha to hide too because the Germans would kill them if they saw them. But little Seryozha, unafraid, picks up his slingshot. He then throws a stone at the plane above his head with his slingshot, and the stone hits the plane, causing it to crash. This is when we realize that all of this was just a dream. Seryozha was asleep in his bed at home, having this dream. Just then, their neighbor, Aunt Anisa, enters his house in a great hurry. Seryozha asks her where his mother and Petya are. Anisa tells him, "They have gone far away. They will never return from there." But little Seryozha still wants to go to his mother. Anisa is then forced to tell him that the Germans have killed his mother and brother. If they find him now, they will kill him too. So she wants to take him to her house. However, the Germans were already very close to his house. With no other option, Anisa takes him out through the back window. Seryozha runs for his life with all his might. After running for some time, he reaches a safe distance. Behind him, the entire village was burning fiercely. The Germans had burned everything in the village, including his house. In an instant, little Seryozha seemed to have lost his entire world. He then enters a forest, calling out, "Mother!" But he doesn't know that his mother will never return. While searching for his mother, he gets lost in the forest. He spends one night there. The next morning, Seryozha wakes up and wants water. Just then, he sees some German soldiers approaching and hides behind a tree in fear. By now, his young mind understands that these people will kill him if they find him. So he stays hidden behind the tree until the Germans leave. But in the meantime, another great danger appears before him. A poisonous snake on the tree continuously moves towards him. Although he is terrified by this sight, no sound escapes his mouth. Finally, when the Germans leave, he quickly climbs down from the tree. In this way, he survives, even after coming very close to death. Climbing down the tree, he picks up a discarded can of food left by the Germans. He hasn't eaten anything since last night, so he satisfies his hunger with whatever was left in the food can. Then he starts walking through the forest. He struggles to walk through the damp, muddy forest. Suddenly, there are several loud explosions behind him. The Germans were firing tanks very close to the forest. The shells from the tanks fall near him with loud noises. Seryozha thinks that maybe someone is behind him, so he tries to scare them away with a stick. When the shelling stops for a while, Seryozha goes into the forest and falls asleep. A Russian military unit was passing through the forest shortly after. Fortunately, they see Seryozha lying on the ground and pick him up. They then bring him to their camp. He still had many small injuries on his body. The commander of the soldiers is deeply saddened to see such a small child facing the harsh realities of war. He immediately orders his soldiers to take care of Seryozha. The commander then introduces himself to Seryozha. When the commander asks his name, Seryozha tells him. The commander then tells him that his name is Nikolai Sergeyevich, likely a translation of Mikhail Vorobyov, his adoptive father. The commander asks him where all his family members are. In response, Seryozha breaks down into tears while mentioning his mother and brother. The commander then encourages him to stop crying. Afterwards, everyone arranges food for the hungry Seryosha. He is then taken to a hospital where a nurse named Katya begins to look after him. A good bond develops between the two of them during their conversations. Seryosha learns from Katya that the commander is a war hero. He received a badge and a special pistol for his bravery. This sparks a desire in Seryosha's mind to become a commander like him. Meanwhile, the commander and his soldiers were relaxing outside the camp. Suddenly, the Germans attack them. Led by the commander, the Russians retaliate. After a small attack, the Germans retreat. Several Russians were also seriously injured in this battle. They are all taken to a hospital. The commander checks himself after repelling the attack and sees that he has also been injured in his hand. After receiving treatment at the hospital, he comes to see Seryosha. During their conversation, Seryosha asks to see the special pistol, and the commander takes it out and shows him. Holding the pistol, Seryosha feels a different kind of emotion. His desire to become a soldier becomes even stronger. The commander spends some time chatting with him. Then he prepares to leave to return to his duty. As he exits the hospital, Katya approaches him. Here, Katya requests him to let Seryosha stay with them, as Seryosha had developed a bond with her and everyone else. None of them want to let him out of their sight. However, the commander was considering sending him to an orphanage because no other member of Seryosha's family was alive. Moreover, keeping him in the camp during the war was very risky, so the commander thinks the orphanage would be the best place for him. But Katya tells him that she can take care of Seryosha. Still, the commander remains firm in his decision, considering his safety. This upsets Katya. She tells a friend that she can never forget Seryosha. She is not the only one. Many of the soldiers also became good friends with Seryosha. One of them gives him a pair of binoculars as a gift. Another, like Katya, asks the commander to reconsider the matter because the soldiers in this camp have all left their wives and children at home. Now, Seryosha is like their own child to each of them, and sending him elsewhere might break their morale. Hearing all this, the commander also realizes the true situation. Because of this, his own heart would be heavy if he sent Seryosha somewhere else. But considering the war, it is not right to keep him here, as there is no guarantee when the Germans might attack from which direction. And exactly such an attack happens that day. The commander with his soldiers once again repels the attack. Despite being significantly outmatched in strength and weaponry, his soldiers bravely respond to the attack. That is why the Germans cannot easily finish them off. In this battle, as before, many people are injured. Immediately after this attack, the commander decides that it is not right to keep Seryosha here anymore, so he quickly sends a letter to the orphanage to take him away. The next day, people arrive from the orphanage to take Seryosha. When the commander goes to inform him about it, he can't bring himself to say anything because he himself had developed a lot of affection for Seryosha. He then gives him a toy pistol as a gift. It is then that he tells him about going to the orphanage. But Seryosha tells him that he was waiting for him. He even kept praying for the commander to be safe on the battlefield. Hearing these words, the commander becomes very emotional. He asks him, "Will you be my son?" Seryosha immediately says yes, and the commander tears up the letter for the orphanage and sends the people from the orphanage back. Everyone is very happy with the commander's decision. They all work together to make a uniform for Seryosha from their own clothes and shoes. This means that from now on, they will see him as one of their companions, and his name will be Soldier Boy. The commander then meets Seryosha and gives him his uniform. Seryosha is also very happy to wear this uniform and dress like a soldier. Now, with the uniform, he shows his new outfit to everyone. The soldiers also enjoy it very much. But suddenly, the Germans attack again. This time, the attack is much more dangerous than before. They drop many bombs all around, which results in many soldiers being killed and injured. In this situation, Seryosha searches for Katya and the commander. He asks everyone about them, but everyone is busy with the wounded soldiers at this time, so no one has time to give him a proper answer. A fear enters Seryosha's mind that the commander might have died in the battle. Then a doctor calls him and says, "You are a soldier now, so never be afraid of death, and if you want to help everyone, go to the wounded people." Hearing all this, Seryosha goes inside the hospital and starts giving water to the injured. During this time, a soldier asks him to read a letter. Seryosha is only 6 years old. He cannot read properly yet, But to make the man happy, he makes up a story about what is in the letter from his own mind. He tells the man, "Your family is always praying for you. They also informed you that your cow is giving more milk now." But all of this was just a figment of his childlike imagination. All the soldiers lying around easily catch on. This spreads a sense of joy and laughter among all of them. Everyone then asks him to read the letters and laughs at his words. In this way, Seryosha manages to make the wounded soldiers forget all their pain, if only for a little while. He also sings a song for them. In the next scene, we see Seryosha asleep in Katya's lap. At this time, the commander comes and wants to say something to Katya, but the words don't come out clearly. The commander had liked her for a long time, but every time he tried to tell her how he felt, his voice would tremble. This time, too, he can't say anything clearly. Just then, Seryosha wakes up. The commander, instead of saying what he wanted, asks Katya to go to the hospital. It was also time for Katya's duty, so she leaves Seryosha with the commander and goes to work. Here, we see that Seryosha has already started calling him Papa. Just like this, a father-son relationship develops between the two of them. Anyway, the commander goes back to his work. Meanwhile, Seryosha gets hold of a razor from somewhere. He then starts shaving just like an adult. The other soldiers cannot stop laughing at this act. After shaving, Seryosha starts reporting to the commander like a soldier. He then asks if he has any mission. The commander says, "I have an important mission for you. A car will arrive at the camp with many letters shortly, and your responsibility will be to deliver those letters to everyone." Seryosha is very happy to receive this mission. In the meantime, a cut mark is seen on his cheek. When asked about this mark, Seryosha says, "This mark happened while shaving." But actually, he had put a bandage on to copy the commander, because the commander had also cut himself slightly while shaving. Anyway, a soldier arrives at the camp with the letters shortly. Seryosha takes the letters from him and starts distributing them among the soldiers. In this way, he completes his mission responsibly by delivering the letters to everyone. This shows that despite being a small child, his mind is fully immersed in military discipline. We realize the impact a wartime situation can have on a young child. After distributing the letters, Seryosha was looking around with his binoculars. Suddenly, he sees a haystack some distance from the camp through the binoculars. Here, he sees a foot moving slightly within the hay. It seems someone is hiding behind the hay. So Seryosha quickly goes to the camp and informs everyone about this. At first, everyone thinks that he is making something up as before, but Seryosha insists that everything he saw is true. The soldiers then take his word seriously and go to check the haystack. Seryosha guides 3 soldiers named Andrei, Zhora, and Vanya. They all quietly and cautiously approach the haystack. Then Andrei and Zhora move forward, while Vanya provides cover from behind. They then create smoke by burning hay near the haystack. Unable to tolerate the smoke, a man comes out from inside the hay. The Russians are surprised to see that this is a German spy, and they immediately arrest him. In this way, Seryosha's courage saves them from the German conspiracy. As this news spreads throughout the camp, Seryosha becomes a war hero to them. The commander also feels very proud after hearing everything. But Seryosha is unaware of all this. He was still performing his duty of distributing letters like a soldier. This time, too, after finishing his duty, he reports to the commander. The commander then gives him some happy news. He had applied to the Russian government to take Seryosha as his legal child, and as a result, the government has approved his application. This means that from now on, he is officially Seryosha's father. Seryosha is extremely happy to hear this. He then says that this news should also be shared with Katya because she likes the commander very much. The commander feels a little embarrassed hearing his words, but Seryosha practically forces him to go to Katya. Katya was sitting by a pond near the camp at that time. Just as the commander is about to go see her, another soldier appears there. This man also liked her, and he has come here to propose to her. Seeing this, the commander assumes that Katya might like this man, so he quietly walks away from there. But he didn't know that Katya actually liked him. Another day passes in the camp like this. The next day, the Germans attack them again, and this time, Seryosha directly participates in the battle. He literally delivers ammunition to the soldiers right through the crossfire. Just think how courageous a child has to be to do this job. Even the brave soldiers are taken aback by his courage. However, for his safety, they ask him to go back to the commander. Meanwhile, the commander was trying to communicate with other camps on the telephone as they urgently needed reinforcements because many of their soldiers had already died. But their entire communication system was disabled by the German bombing. The entire communication system was broken due to severed wires in many places, so the commander's telephone was not working properly either.
Upon his order, a soldier goes to fix the telephone line, but at the same time, the Germans are heavily shelling and bombing from all directions. The soldier is shot the moment he climbs onto the bunker, due to which he cannot fix the telephone line. But in the meantime, Seryozha had followed him and climbed onto the bunker. He then rolls and falls into a pit next to it. The injured soldier had also fallen there. Seeing Seryozha, he quickly asks him to return to the bunker. But Seryozha requests him to tell him how to fix the telephone line. The soldier then shows him a cut wire and tells him how to join it. Now, following his instructions, Seryozha goes near the telephone line and he fixes it by joining the two wires. Just think, the way a 6-year-old child like him gives one display of bravery after another is truly amazing. Just like this, due to his courage, the telephone line is repaired, and the commander, receiving reinforcements, manages to repel the Germans for the time being. Finally, after this attack, a ceasefire runs between the two sides for some time. The next day, Seryozha suddenly goes to Katya and tells her that his father, meaning the commander, is very sick. He is trying hard but cannot eat anything. Hearing this, Katya rushes to him, but she finds the commander in perfectly good health. This means Seryozha had tricked her. Actually, he wanted a bond to be created between Katya and the commander, because he knew that even though they liked each other, neither of them could actually bring themselves to say it out loud. So he put them in such a situation so that they could express their feelings. But instead, both of them become quite embarrassed. Still, the commander manages to overcome his embarrassment and wants to tell Katya how he feels, but Katya had already run out of the camp. The commander also runs after her and stops her. Then he hesitates several times before finally expressing his feelings. In the end, he manages to say, "Will you be Seryozha's mother?" That means the commander is now Seryozha's father, and Katya becoming his mother means a relationship developing between the two of them. Just like this, the commander finally proposes to her and Katya accepts it. But in the midst of this, a letter arrives for the commander. This letter states that they have to leave the camp and move elsewhere the next day. Actually, all the camps were preparing for a major battle against the Germans under the command of a general. Meanwhile, Seryozha was at the other end of the camp. Some soldiers had brought a dog-drawn wagon there. Seeing them, Seryozha also wants to ride the wagon. And as soon as the soldiers seat him in the wagon, the dogs start running. At first, he was enjoying it, but suddenly the dogs start running towards the outside of the camp. And this is exactly where many landmines were planted. Seeing the dogs running in that direction, the soldiers get terrified. One of them quickly gets on a bike. He then stops the dogs in front of the bike just in time.
Finally, Seryozha is saved from a great danger by a narrow margin. That afternoon, the commander takes everyone and sets off for the new camp, marching. But in the middle of their journey, the Germans suddenly start firing at them. Several of their soldiers are killed in this sudden attack. Among them were some soldiers with whom Seryozha had a very good relationship. As a result, he becomes very sad about this incident. But one cannot remain emotional for too long on the battlefield, so the commander leads everyone and quickly sets off towards their destination again. Finally, they reach the new army camp by walking. After reaching the camp, the general there welcomes all of them, and Seryozha is also introduced to him. The general is also quite surprised to hear the stories of his bravery. Then, Seryozha asks the commander for a new mission in front of the general. The commander asks him to check if all the soldiers' gait, manner of walking, or boots is all right. Following his instructions, Seryozha lines up the soldiers. Then he makes a note of the names of everyone whose gait he finds fault with. He then comes directly to the general and submits the report. The general then wants to reward him for his work. Seryozha then asks him for permission for the commander and Katya's marriage. In a few hours, he also develops a good friendship with all the soldiers of the new camp. Seryozha spends time having fun with all of them. The next day, a badge is given to the entire battalion from the general side, because this battalion had defeated the Germans many times in battle. and Seryozha was one of their key companions in this victory, so he also receives an honorary badge from the general. This means Seryozha becomes an official war hero. But the joyful atmosphere of the entire battalion does not last long, because that night, the Germans attack them fiercely, and this was the biggest attack to date. Many in their regiment are wounded and killed in this attack. Even the commander himself is trapped under his cabinet. The cabinet was completely destroyed by the bomb blast. Seryozha alone tries hard to pull him out from there. Finally, he seeks help from the nearby soldiers. Following his words, they all work together and rescue the commander. After the battle that lasted all night stops, he is admitted to the hospital the next morning, and Seryozha also comes to the hospital to see the injured commander. Seeing him in this condition, tears well up in his eyes. But the commander tells him, "Don't cry, because men never cry." After being hospitalized for a few days, he slowly recovers. At the very end of the movie, we see that Seryozha participated in several more battles with the commander, and in every battle, they win with bravery. Finally, when the war ends, Seryozha becomes known as Soldier Boy throughout Russia. He then spends the rest of his life with the commander and his family. Seryozha's bravery teaches us that courage is the real key to victory. His indomitable courage, despite being a child, will remain an example in the history of war. And with these messages, this extraordinary movie finally ends here. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next beautiful video.